Welcome back to another UNC Tar Heels basketball recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're watching us on our fast-growing YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of basketball recruiting, longtime AAU college and high school coach, Mr. David Sisk, who is in Cartersville, Georgia on assignment, covering, and he's going to be in Georgia and Alabama here for a couple of days covering stuff for us. But he's taking the time out of his late night to talk about Jalen Washington, 6'8", 190-pound, four-star power forward from Gary, Indiana, who has committed to play basketball for Hubert Davis and the Tar Heels. A couple of specs on Jalen as well. Number 26 overall player in the class, number 5 at his position. He chose Carolina over Purdue, Stanford, and Indiana, and I believe he was at Purdue just not too long ago. Also offering him Illinois, Michigan State, Maryland, among others. David, you did an interview with Jalen a few weeks ago, and you have said for a while, he's a 4-star kid, but you see him trending toward a 5. What do you think about Carolina picking up Jalen Washington?
Yeah, he's about as close as you can get to being that. There's 2 reasons I fear he probably will. Number one, he could always move up. And secondly, they tend, as the longer the ratings go, they tend to rate more kids in the 5-star range. So I think there was, if I'm off by 1 or 2, but there's something like 22 to 23 5 stars. So he's only a couple off. So, I expect him to make that move. And let's face it, when you commit to a place like North Carolina or any of the blue blood schools, your stock usually goes up in recruiting circles. Now, that probably shouldn't be the case, but obviously Hubert Davis, you trust his eye. So, in the North Carolina staff. So, to me, it's on just for starters, it really just keeps this ball rolling. I was thinking about it today in the gym, on the heels of Dawson Garcia. You're talking about 3 transfers and 3 incoming freshmen in the 22-23 class. Well, then what? 4 months? 6 players within 4 months. That's almost like football numbers. So, they're getting it done. And the last couple of guys, really these last 3 that we talked about, we kind of said the same thing when Dawson Garcia signed, Garcia on the heels of Trimble. And I've said this, these are guys that North Carolina, they look like North Carolina players. And I will throw Washington in there as well, Jalen Washington. So the last 3 guys I think could have played a lot at North Carolina, back whether it would have been the Dean Smith glory days, whether it would have been the good teams Coach Gutt had, or the glory days of Roy Williams on his really fine teams. I think these guys could have lined up and went on any of those teams.
One of the things that struck me from your interview with Jalen a few weeks ago was –
I'm in a hotel, by the way. You can see them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheap hotel if it's on our budget. Just teasing. One of the things that struck me –
They left the light on for me.
They
After 15 hours in the gym, they did leave the light on.
Was there a mint on the pillow?
No. I think we're going to bring a drug dog through and find out what that is. So.
Well, a lot of the stuff he said about Carolina, a lot of kids give sort of canned answers. If you read what they say about school X or school Y or school Z, very similar. And with Carolina, it's a little bit different because a lot of the kids understand the tradition, especially once they go there. They see all the banners, they see the pageantry. But he kind of went in depth and talked a lot about what UNC stands for, what it means. And yeah, he listed Michael Jordan, but he went for a while, layering a bunch of different things that are impressive and are easy to like about UNC. How much do you think that this young man really understands and is embracing being a part of something that's so big? It's not just a near future decision, but it's kind of being a part of something that's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, I think definitely. North Carolina's, they just don't throw offers out day one. They're all the coaching staff, and Hubert's taken what Roy Williams did, and that's about building relationships. And every player that I talked to, Will Shaver at length today. And every player that I've talked to it's about they'll go into the relationship building and how close they feel with the coaching staff. So North Carolina took their time with it and kind of helped him understand that. And one thing too, when I first talked to him, and I think the thing on the board, I felt like, man, I think North Carolina is going to be in the middle of the fight on this one. Well, he really likes them. I just don't know if you can get a kid out of state Indiana or not. And Michigan State was right there too. They've been recruiting him for a long time. So, and basketball fans know this is an educated fan base. It's just hard to get a kid, out of that area that grew up in Big Ten country watching Indiana, Purdue, and, going to North Carolina meant more to him than staying home with that.
Now, in watching his film, one of the things that stood out to me was that he's a very patient player. He's got a well-rounded game. He's got the catch and square stuff that a lot of young guys haven't yet developed at that stage the way that they would need at the college level. I like the patience in his game. I like the fact that he's a guy that knows he's a terrific athlete, but he also relies on fundamentals and skill and proper movement. What stands out to you about his game?
That's something I've seen with all these players. I don't think Trimble gets in a hurry. Watching Will today, he doesn't. Watch Isaac Trout. All these guys are patient with the ball, and their basketball IQs are good. So that's one thing pretty heady. You grow up in state Indiana playing high school basketball, you're going to know how to play the game. Just ability, and I need to watch more. You've probably watched more film than I have. But I'm not – I like to watch them in person. I'm not a big-time going in and watching highlights and all that stuff. But, I'm going to get to see him live here and talk to him. But I think he kind of feels that role now of the stretch guy. I think you take Will Shaver. I think Will's going to end up being a guy who's back to the bucket more so. But, Jalen Washington now we talked about. Hubert wants to step out and step that guy out. And, you look at what he signed. This is really his third stretch guy that he signed. Brady Manick's going to be here for 1 year. Garcia, we don't know. It's a win-win either way it goes. If he's here for 1 year, that probably means he had an outstanding season at North Carolina. Thinking about Dawson Garcia playing as a junior, who wouldn't want that? Oh, yeah. But, Jalen he kind of keeps that string going. And, when I talked to Will Shaver, he said an interesting thing. He said Hubert Davis had told him that, he's not against playing a 5-out where both posts step out, and having two guys like that on the floor at the same time. So, Jalen fits that bill of what he's looking for and the kind of skill set, along with the length and size and all that. So I know he's got to be excited about bringing in a big-time player that provides him the type of player style that he's looking for.
One other observation about the way he plays, and shoot it down if you don't see it, he's 6'8", but to me, and I know a lot of the stuff he's going against smaller kids, so he's going to appear longer. It looks like he plays longer than 6'8" when he has to play longer than 6'8". From the film that you've seen, and you'll see him here in person shortly, have you seen that as well?
Yeah, but it's funny. I sit with college coaches today, and I can hear them looking at kids, and there's a guy, what do you think he is? You think he's 6'10"? Or one guy said, yeah, he's 6'10". I got, no, he's 6'8". And even sitting courtside, and that's even like Will Shaver. I had a coach ask me, he said, how tall do you think he is? Because Will's got the fro, got the bushy hair. He said, you're really smart to wear that hair like that because it makes you look like you're about 7'3". But I think it's more all about length. And I think that makes a kid look longer when you're long-armed, long-legged, things like that. It sounds crazy, but Bobby Knight always said he didn't want to recruit post players with long necks because, and it sounds wild, but when you think about it, he says because they're not as tall. He said if you take a guy's neck's an inch or two longer, he said, I'm not looking for that. I want a kid that's longer from the shoulders down.
Yeah.
So I think his overall length and things like that make him look longer.
Jalen Washington joins Seth Trimble and Will Shaver in this class. That's 6 I do's in about 3 months for Hubert Davis. I would say that, and these are all kids that could have gone a lot of terrific places other than North Carolina. So I would say Jalen Washington is just the next among many big time players with tremendous options. That is a Tar Heel. He is David Sisk, somewhere in the Southeast covering events. I'm sure we may catch up here in the next couple of days with David as well. I'm Andrew Jones. You are watching TarHeelIllustrated.com and our YouTube channel, Tar Heel Illustrated. Go over to our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com. David's message board threads from the events he's covering are top shelf stuff. If you love Carolina basketball recruiting, you got to hop on board and get on that stuff. Thanks for stopping by.